everybody, it's John D from JDTV here at Fairview Square for our townhome follow that we've been doing, and today we wanted to just talk about the electric rough-in stage. So we have plumbing roughed in, we have the HVAC, heat and air conditioning roughed in, and now we're at electrical. One thing to note, we do have sprinklers roughed in as well here. You can kind of see these orange pipes in the ceiling. Whenever you have multiple units connected together, the code now is to protect them from fire transfer between the buildings, hence the reason we have the shaft wall, which I talked about previously, but also we want to be able to suppress it. And so they have their sprinkler system and sprinkler pipes installed in order to do so. But today we're mainly going to talk about electric. You see multiple boxes and wires roughed in all around here that they have run. So the interesting thing with electrical rough-in that you want to keep in mind is when you come for your pre-drywall walk, that you want to look around and familiarize yourself and make sure if you had a package that you paid for, say you added recessed lights, at that time it's great to take a quick look and make certain the recessed lights are in place to see if they're there. But anyway, we have everything put in here, all the receptacles for the kitchen area, electric for in the island. Once we get the cabinets in place, we have our lights put in that have to be put in beforehand, or light boxes to mount lights. We have our switch boxes and everything run. The electric panels in place, and we should technically be ready to power the house up when it's time. Right now we can't. Obviously we don't have any fixtures in the boxes until after drywall, so we won't turn that power on fully. Sometimes we may have the power on and just have wiring set to one switch so that our trade partners can plug right into there to use electricity. But again, the key note to remember with electrical rough-in is to pay attention to where all those boxes are when you come for your pre-drywall. Make certain that everything is where you expected it and you have an understanding of what goes where, because it can be confusing. You just see lots of boxes. What's a switch? What's a receptacle? There's different receptacles. We have ground fault protected receptacles and then a standard receptacle. As you know, ground fault protection is necessary around wet locations. So they have that all laid out ahead of time, and we can explain that to you during that pre-drywall process. Let's run down, we'll take a look at the electric panel real quick to see, I can identify some of the breakers for you. So here we are at the panel. I'm just going to open it up carefully. It's not fully bolted on yet because it's not on. But you can see that we have breakers loaded in here. There are various types of breakers. So again, we're going to have ground fault interruption breakers, and then also there's breakers called arc fault interruption. And you'll find as the code continues to become more stringent year after year, we have to put more and more arc fault protection in. And what arc fault protection is for, you have that old lamp from Aunt Sally that she gave you, she grew up with and loved it, and you want to plug it in your living room because you got it from Aunt Sally, but maybe the wiring's bad or dried out in there. If you don't have an arc fault protection breaker, that wiring, which may be dried out or wearing out, could start to heat up and actually cause a fire. And it not causing a ground fault though. So if you're plugged into a ground fault, it may not do anything, but the arc fault can sense when there's positive and negative wiring touching each other, and it'll shut off right away to help prevent possible fires. So they found that many electrical fires truly were caused by an arc fault, so now they've come out with special breakers. So it's also kind of a pain. You can have breakers tripping kind of more than you ever experienced before, but it's truly a safety hazard, and it typically means that there's an issue with that appliance, with whatever appliance you had plugged in at that time, to have you check that. So once the person moves in here, more of these breakers will be filled in. Again, this is just temporary. They're working on it at this time, and they'll get this all set up for you to go. Another interesting thing about electrical, you can see that there's this copper cable here. This is for grounding, and I just wanted to show you, we don't always just put a grounding rod out in the ground. You also have to ground to the water system in the home, because water pipes are underground and they're naturally like a gigantic ground rod. So let's go take a look. I just want to see what it looks like back here where we connect to the water supply. So here's this grounding wire coming down. This is what happens when you do kind of like live videos. They don't have the grounding clamp on here yet, but I'm going to show you. They ran it over to the water supply because they don't have everything done. But what they'll do is they'll find a metal section of the piping here, and they'll actually connect it to that pipe with a special grounding clamp. That does get inspected by the inspector. It's a requirement. And again, if you consider water pipes underground, I mean, it's a gigantic grounding system, and it just helps protect the home in the case of a bad surge or a lightning strike. So I hope you guys got a little bit out of it today. Rough electrical is not very exciting when it's done. It's a lot of boxes with wires jammed in there. Obviously, when we get to the finishes of the home, you'll see receptacles installed, lights put in place, those kind of things. But right now, this is an important stage, and again, at your pre-drywall meeting, you want to make certain to take pictures of those things that could be hidden in the wall, so for the future, you do know where, if you happen to have like a big heavy wire running down the wall, that's not where you want your friend to help you hang your new TV and drive a gigantic screw through that wire. So it is important to take pictures and just kind of pay attention to everything that you see and make sure that you ask questions. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a great day.